Hello there, friends. It's Pastor John, and it's time for this week's episode of PD on Pop Culture. And today I wanted to talk to you about not a movie, but something that just actually happened to me today. Now, today I had my yearly one-on-one, which is I meet with my district superintendent, and we talk about my personal and professional goals for the year, and where the church is going and that sort of thing. It's a preparation for our annual church conference as well. And our new to me, district superintendent Hector said something. He used a terminology that I've heard a little bit before, and it just kind of stirred my imagination. He talked about liminal spaces, and maybe you know what that means, and maybe you don't. Um, Basically, the idea of a liminal space is some place between what was and what isn't quite yet. Now, it comes from Latin, and the basic Latin terminology is something about a threshold, being, in a doorway, so to speak. So, those liminal spaces are those places where we've been to a certain place and we know that there's something else coming, but we're not quite there yet. And so, as a comparison, you might look at, well, here's a good one: World War II. In World War II, the the war was basically over when the Allied forces stormed the beaches at Normandy and won the Battle of Normandy. But the war didn't end for another 5 years, I believe, or something like that. It was quite a while. Um, on Victory VE Day, VJ Day, that was when the war actually ended. But it was a foregone conclusion after Normandy. Um, Look at, if we want to get very biblical about it, look at that time, that space between the crucifixion of Christ and the resurrection of Christ. That liminal space where we know things have happened and things are never going to be the same, and something is coming, but we don't know what it is yet. We're not into that new reality, whatever it's going to be. And you can make the same comparison even right now between the resurrection of Christ and end times. We're in that liminal space between the battle's been won, Christ won the battle over sin and death, and yet we're still here and we don't know 100% what's coming yet, and we're kind of in that space in between. It's a really fascinating idea to think about, if you will. But we're in that space now, aren't we? As a church, our little church, but even as a big church, we're in that sort of liminal space between what was before March of 2020 and what we've not yet gotten to. We're in this place where we're still learning how to adapt, and yes, I know we're 17 months down the line from that, but we're still learning how to adapt and how to develop new ministries and new ways to reach people and new ways to be the church in the world, in a world that is changing every day, all around us. We're in that liminal space. But there's one thing that all of those examples that I have given you, all of them have in common. There's one thing they all have in common, and that is opportunity. When you're in that place between what was and is never going to be again, and for those of us, a lot of us, we look back at pre-March 2020 and we go, well, I want that back. I want that back. I get it. But I think we're at a point now where we realize that's never coming back, right? So we're in that space, but what we have is opportunity. We have opportunity to develop new ministries. We have opportunity to reach people in a new and exciting and a different way. And that is, in my mind, so much more important than worrying about what was and trying to regain what was. because what was probably isn't going to be what is again. It's probably not coming back, at least not 100%. So, how do we adapt? How do we find the opportunities and then take advantage of them? That's a challenge, I think, for all of us, right? It's a challenge for us as a church, but I think it's a challenge for all of us as human beings, just living in a world that is in a liminal space, a space between what was and what isn't quite yet. Anyway, that's what I have for you this week. Hope you're all doing well. Take care. God bless. Bye now.